Well, hello, my friend. Welcome back to another episode of the From Chaos to Peace podcast, where I talk about how clutter is so much more than you think, and we put a spiritual twist on clearing that clutter to get organized. Thank you so much for allowing me back into your ears. Well, hello, my friend. I'm your host, Conny Graf. Welcome to the podcast, and thank you so much for being here. If you listen to this when it comes out on Monday, May 26th, 2025, then today is New Moon in Gemini. And the theme of the coming month is about fresh ideas, new connections, and open-minded exploration. We want to be playful, curious. It's about adaptability and the power of words and stories. And ideally, we want to invite mental clarity, hopefully engage in meaningful conversations, and also discover new ways to express ourselves. And on this note, the new ways of expressing ourselves, I want to put focus on how powerful words are. But before we dive in, I want to say you can download the New Moon in Gemini intention setting guide that I create every month. So each new moon is like a cosmic clean slate, and it's a chance to pause, reflect, and then set intentions around what truly matters to us. And so my new moon intention setting roadmap helps you tune into the unique energy of each new moon. It helps you identify and set meaningful intentions aligned with your vision and goals, and then also helps you take small, actionable steps and stay on track so you actually follow through. So this is all in that guide. And so whether you're craving more clarity or you want to call in maybe some fresh energy, fresh ideas, or you just need a gentle nudge and a more organized way to stay on track, this guide is really for you. And you can find the link to download this guide in the show notes. And also I want to say, even if you listen to this way later, way after May 26th, 2025, this link always takes you to the most current guide, to the most current new moon guide, and it will walk you through what theme is important around that time and what intentions you want to set and how to do that. So no matter when you're listening, you can go and download that, and I'm sure it will be helpful. Okay, so back to how powerful words are. Because Gemini is an air sign and it's all about words, communication, learning, and writing. And I want to put the focus on particularly one word. And that word is a dream killer and a goal killer. You wonder, what word am I talking about? Well, the word is should. When you say to yourself or to others, I really should do that, it's usually code for I should, but I'm not going to. It usually means we're procrastinating. We say, I really should do this, and we feel embarrassed because we're procrastinating and we're not doing what we're saying we should be doing. So let's dive in a bit and let's explore a bit what happens when you say, yeah, I really should do that. So you want to maybe just tune in for a few seconds and pay attention how that sentence, yeah, I really should do that, how that sentence feels when you think it or when you even say it out loud. I really should do that. Well, I don't know about you, but I feel kind of pressure. I feel guilty. I feel resistance because I'm a bit of a rebel and I don't like to be told what to do. And that should kind of implies that I'm told what to do. So depending on my mood, I start to feel maybe rebellious, or I start to just, instead of fighting it, I just try to escape it and do whatever else, just not that, right? And so procrastination is born. Well, you can always prove me wrong. So if you can find a positive feeling when you say that word, yeah, I really should do that, then feel free to contact me and tell me, because I would love to hear it. So I can't feel, or I can't find a positive feeling around the sentence, I should really do that. So feeling guilty or pressured or feeling bad really doesn't motivate us to change or to do something. It just makes us feel bad. It makes us, like I said, feel guilty or feel rebellious or feel depressed, maybe even. It's really not a good feeling. And while the sentence, I should really do this, is very sabotaging mental clutter to begin with, when we become aware of these feelings of guilt and resistance and heaviness on top of it, then we usually start to pack more mental clutter on top of it by thinking, I should do that, but I guess I'm just too lazy, or I guess I'm no good for nothing, or whatever your bully tells you. I'm sure you have experience with that voice. And the more you tell yourself that you should do it, the more you might believe it also, that you are no good for nothing, or that you're lazy, or whatever. And it becomes your self-concept, a limiting belief about yourself. And you move further and further away from what you actually want and further away from good, positive feelings too. So this shooting yourself, how I call it, creates really mental and emotional clutter. And I don't know about you, but beating myself up to do anything, that might work at times. But I actually want to say the older I get, the less it works, because it doesn't feel good. And beating myself up, I just learned, is really not getting me where I want to go. And it's definitely not self-love, right? I talk a lot about how clearing clutter is self-love, but not with beating ourselves up, or with shooting ourselves. And so, full disclosure too, this is of course the kind of clutter that I have to work on every day myself too, because my brain tries to shoot myself a lot. And then I might beat myself up, although, like I said, I got better at this. So when I was younger, I was really shooting myself a lot, and I also was beating myself up a lot. Now, getting older, I could claim maybe getting wiser. This has gotten better, but I do have to be careful. So if I have a bad day and a lot of things go wrong, or I don't get to what I actually wanted to get to, and I'm already feeling a bit crappy, I could end up in this shooting trap as well, and in the beating myself up trap and all that not so nice stuff that really doesn't get us anywhere. It's not helpful. I always tell my clients when they tell me what their bully just told them all again, I say, well, did you ask your bully whether that was helpful? Or did you ask yourself whether that was even helpful? So, no, it is not helpful. Because again, also words are powerful, and we can either use them against us, and the shooting and the beating ourselves up is definitely using them against us, or we can use them for us in order to make progress. So figuring out how we could word it differently, how we can also in our own thoughts frame it differently, so it actually does move us forward, so we actually do feel compelled to do something. So as a very, very, very first step, when you notice, you think or say, I really should do this, counter it right away with, who says? Who says I should do this? Because we're now all adults. I assume I only have adults listening to the podcast, but we're all adults, and adults really don't have to do anything other than breathing and paying taxes, as the joke goes, right? So, but we can also tell ourselves lies, and we should do something. That's definitely a lie. We can always decide we want to do it or we don't want to do it. There is literally no should. Nobody can tell you what you should do. Not even your bully, not even whatever inner voice you have and how you call it. But of course, this is sometimes a bit abstract because we're just fighting with our own voice, right? And this might or might not be helpful. To me, it actually, I catch myself now because I have a lot of practice, and I really, if I'm very conscious and if I'm aware, I really try to keep the word should out of my vocabulary. The other word I try to keep out of my vocabulary is perfect. So these two are really not, as much as I can help it, not in my vocabulary, right? But it needs a lot of practice. So, and in order to get there, we can start by exchanging the word should with something else, and that might help you to get there. And we can actually do this like a game, right? So every time you catch yourself that you say, I should do this, an alarm bell should go off or needs to go off, and you exchange right away that with a different word. And so the word I'm suggesting is could. So exchange should for could. Because this one tweak in your thinking, when you say I should compared to I could, tune in. This little tweak will make you feel different. And remember, I just talked in a former episode, not far back, 2 or 3 episodes back, so 266 or 67 or something, I talked about how our thinking creates our feeling, right? And so if you have bad feelings when you think, oh, I should really do this, so you tune in now and you figure out how are you going to feel when you exchange the word should with could. So in this, we could come up with an example. I really should declutter and get organized, right? Has never said anybody, I assume. But yeah, we all have said it, me included. So now instead of saying I really should declutter, why not say I really could declutter and get organized today? And then just pause and see how that makes you feel. If you're human like me, I bet this sentence with the word could feels better than the one with the word should. And again, the thinking and the words create the feelings, right? So maybe if you're switching the word should for could, you might be able to take action from that place. Like for me, it takes away being rebellious, right? Because I say to myself, I really could declutter. It's more a suggestion. It's like, yeah, I could declutter. So it takes a lot of that pressure and the rebellious, that my rebellion against the pressure right away, it takes that out. Remember, all we want to do is just a few minutes, right? So like if we say to ourselves, I really should declutter for a few minutes, we may not want to do it. But if we say, I really could declutter for a few minutes, we may actually do it. You may think, yeah, I could actually do that. I actually could really do this. And then this opens up the opportunity and the possibility that we're actually doing it, what we want to do, instead of beating ourselves up and shooting ourselves, right? And then when I went through the clutter clearing practitioner training, we went even a step further, and we tried out how it would be if we would ask a question instead of like making a statement. So instead of, and that is with the exchanged word already. So instead of saying, I really could declutter and get organized today, we're exchanging this whole thing with and create a question out of it. So instead of I could declutter, we tried, and you could try too, how that would feel. Could I declutter today? So you ask yourselves, basically. It's way gentler and way friendlier than, oh, I should really declutter, right? So This also then gives you even more freedom to take a few minutes and to tune in and to see how you feel. And you can ask yourself, could I? Maybe yes, I could. And it's softer, right? And it's also curious. And this is why also I bring this up today, because with New Moon in Gemini, Gemini is all about curiosity, and it is about words, and it is about communication. And so it also goes the other way, right? Like if you tell somebody, oh, you should really get organized or whatever, that person probably puts right away their defense mechanism up and doesn't really feel very good, right? And they're also like, when you say, oh, you could really declutter today, that could sound a bit patronizing or a bit like in a negative tone. But if you're making a question out of it, and if you say, could you maybe today declutter a bit or get organized a bit, especially if it's someone that lives with you and their clutter drives you nuts, that's a much nicer word, right? But back also to yourself. If you have already successfully switched the should with the could, so I could declutter and get organized today, and you're still kind of feeling a bit resistance or you don't wanna, you could go and explore it with, could I declutter and get organized today? It's really so much kinder than blame and shame and feeling rotten. All those feelings that inevitably I can't say that word, inevitably come with shooting ourselves. And the goal also with this whole exercise is to understand that you don't have to do anything. You are an adult. Nobody can really tell you what to do. Also, not the bully in your head or the gremlin or however you call the voice in your head. What you want to understand is that you don't want to stay stuck. You want to move forward, right? You have these goals. You want to achieve things, but if you should yourself to achieve these things, that's never gonna create a sustainable long-term result, because eventually you will rebel against the should. Maybe it takes a few years, like it took for me. Like when I was younger, you could should me. You should. And it was, I know exactly where that started in childhood with that voice, right? But we're adults now. We have control over this voice. It may take a bit. It may take some awareness and intention to make that voice softer, but we can do it. And that's where intention setting comes in, right? We have to be intentional about these things. You have to be, if you want to eliminate the word should out of your vocabulary, like I'm trying, and as you may have heard, it slipped out today too, but I'm really very intentional on trying to not say it. I'm trying to replace it before it even comes out of my mouth. So if you want to do that, intention setting is really important. And then my guide that I talked about in the beginning helps you check in with yourself and make sure you're still on track, because it doesn't help to just set intentions and then forget about it. Whether that's with our words and how we want to communicate or anything else, right? We have to be on top of it. We also have to make sure we don't take on too much. We just start with some few intentions. And this is why I like to use the new moon for intention setting, because it gives me a theme and I can pick from that theme something that I want to focus on. And this is why I wanted to offer this to you in this podcast episode. Gemini is about communication. It's about writing, listening, learning, communicating. And this includes inner communication. And this is why this episode is so important. But of course, as always, I will never tell you to get rid of anything, not even the word should. But what I am here to do and what I do want to do, I want to help you see the effects of clutter, the effects that clutter has on your life and your business. And so this episode was all about the mental and emotional clutter that results from when we beat ourselves up and when we use words that pressure us. So be aware when you should yourself and see if the word game that I gave you with the could and then could I, whether that gets you into a habit of eliminating the pressure on you, being more kind, actually move more towards self-love and more peace in your life. And then maybe you also do a few minutes a day that keeps the chaos away, right? And if not, and if you still struggle and you're ready to make a change and need some accountability, you can contact me because that's my superpower. You can message me on Instagram. My handle is I am Conny Graf, or you send me an email at conny@connygraf.com. Or alternatively, you can just sign up for a complimentary Chaos to Peace Jumpstart consultation. And you find that link in the show notes too, together with the link for the New Moon in Gemini Intention Setting Guide. Okay, my friend, that's it for today. Have a beautiful and amazing week. Talk to you next time. Take good care and don't shoot yourself.